Hi everyone and welcome to the Recruitment Brothers podcast. With an age gap of 17 years and two heavy Swedish accents, we're here to cover everything about, you guessed it right, recruitment.
And now over to the older brother Rickard. Welcome to our podcast. Although recruitment is our focus, we will also talk about sports, business development and leadership. And we will invite some inspiring guests. Let's get straight into it.
Hello guys, welcome to the Recruitment Brothers. This is the first episode, maybe the worst, I don't know, but you need to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Should be the worst, should only get better from here. Yeah. We have been thinking a long time about how we could start this episode and what segment we should start with and so on, but the honest truth, we couldn't come up with anything better than to start with a brief introduction. So
a cheap intro, like who we are and like what we do. I'm the oldest, so I'm Rickard. I'm Swedish, living in Norway, been there since 2009, 42 years old, a bit older than Martin, but
just
still,
a bit. Just a bit,
but still looking young, I would say. Same age. Also been in the industry, recruitment now for the last 16 years. Also coaching in sport. I love sports. Football is one big passion, but the sport I've been playing myself is something called bandy. It's something you play with a ball and a stick on ice. Mm-hmm. And it's not so familiar to people and maybe the listeners, but you will learn more about the sport.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm still coaching, but we will come back on that as well. Big passion of traveling. I see myself as a business explorer. And I love to meet new cultures and see how things are done in different countries.
Yeah, because you're officially based in Oslo, but I wouldn't say you spend more than half of the time or even that in Oslo.
Yeah, exactly. Around half a year in Oslo every year, and then traveling the rest. I also have a flat in Malaga, so I love to be in Spain and also visiting other parts of the world. You can say like, oh, my title is to be CEO in the recruitment company, but I would say potato. I do a lot of things, and the biggest one is maybe internal customer support. But that is a bit about me, Martin. Who are you?
But thank you. I am the slightly younger brother than you could call, just slightly. No, but the honest truth, it's 17 years between us. We have the same dad, not the same mom. Both grown up in Uppsala, so me myself also grown up there, 25 years old today, and I've been actually living and working abroad for my full adult life with the exception of 10 months. So when I was 19 years old, I took the leap to move to Cyprus, where I spent 2 years and kind of got started with my international career. And quickly noticed that working abroad, living abroad was something for me, you could say. And then it didn't take too long before that also translated into my career and to working with international recruitment that we do today, to also relocate people between countries and so on. So started off with an internship in recruitment, actually in marketing back then, so I didn't recruit. Worked with sales, worked with a lot of back-end operations, but then noticed that the business and the recruitment was maybe more aligned with my passion of working fast-paced and results-oriented and so on. So today I work with recruitment and business development as well. I've been around 3-4 years in total in the company, if you count those internships as well, and really done a 360 in the company, from being a candidate to doing an intern to working with business development, and now then being responsible for the office that we have in Barcelona, and been growing the team here together with the great colleagues here from 2 people to 10 people. So that's a little bit about my profession and so on. Also a big sports lover, love to stay active, playing football, playing paddle, going to the gym, enjoying the sea here in Barcelona, and traveling as well. I don't want to copy too much of our interest, but it's quite obvious we are brothers and share a lot of the same interest, but also coming from 2 different perspectives because of our age gap, which is one big theme and red line that will be ongoing in this podcast that we will come a little bit more into. But I thought also, now that the listeners have a little bit better picture of who we are, what we like doing, I thought it would make sense to maybe, you mentioned 16 years in recruitment, but how did you get started with recruitment? Because you come from a background in sales, right?
Yeah, more or less. And also for the listeners to know, like maybe we speak a bit fast now. We will learn and we will adapt how to speak, right? Because now we feel that we need to push all info out. So don't judge us, please. But yeah, back to the recruitment part or the sales part. So yes, I was working with sales for many years. I had a chance to start with sales in recruitment 2010, and now I've been doing this now. What is it, like almost 16 years, like you said, and. Yeah, I think I really love the part of doing different things during a day. Like, of course, it was very sales orientated in the start, like, okay, finding good prospects, lead generating, contacting them, negotiating, signing deals, kickstarting new collaborations, getting the success. I was doing that for a long time, and I also run a team of salespeople. But after some time, I guess based on my sports background, maybe leadership skills, I was also promoted to go more into operations, more into delivery, and built my career from sales to operations management to be a country manager, being responsible for P&Ls, and so on and so on. And like after some years doing this, growing my career, I started for myself, you can say, together with Björn, that is one of the partners.
Yeah.
And saw the opportunity of jobs abroad for Nordic speakers. So yeah, that has been a journey. Yeah, and here we are today. Yeah.
Nice. And why would you say now, after these 16 years, you're still in it? What has kept you in the industry? Because 16 years in recruitment, it's a long time. It's not like working as a teacher or working as a doctor where you maybe, educate yourself towards it and you spend your lifestyle as a doctor or a teacher. But recruitment is not too common to stay this long within the industry, at least from my observations. But what would you say has kept you in it for so long?
But I think it's the opportunities to jump between different roles within a company, to see all different aspects of an organization, and also like all the different hats you put on yourself every day. Like in one situation you're a recruiter, and when it comes to recruitment, then it's like you do content and marketing to attract people, or you headhunt them. You're also a career coach and advisor, both for the candidate but also the client. And then you have the marketing part with content. You have but sales, as I talked about before, and then also the leadership part, and also how you build revenue and how you work with pipeline management, forecasting, budget breakdowns, and like all this mix of tasks really fits me. And also that it's very fast paced. And now also working on the global scene, where we one day can recruit for a client in Thailand, the next day one client in Spain, and the third day one client in Mexico. That give me a really big motivation of the job itself.
No, but I can completely agree on it. And I think that's, now I haven't been 16 years, but I think that was also draw me into the industry, this dynamic part of recruitment that let's say I would work in sales, for example, which I have done. It's often like one service or one product, or at least like a similar service or product within one portfolio that you kind of focus on. You learn like one industry really, really well. But that I find in recruitment as well, that we not only need to learn like the geographical markets that you mentioned, like one day Thailand, one next day Bahrain, and then Chile, Peru, but that you also need to jump between industries, because we have the luxury of recruiting, in my opinion, for many different industries, whether it's SaaS or finance or payroll or real estate. And you need to to become the best when you recruit in this, you also need to learn these industries. So I can completely agree with that dynamic part that you mentioned.
That I think is like the biggest reasons. And of course, when you build something for yourself, but together with others, it creates a bigger passion and heart as well, I guess, for yeah, what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you remember like the first time you got started, like how you kind of approached the job, and do you have any tips maybe that you would give to people who are heading into the industry for the first time or are curious about trying it out?
If you take recruitment itself, I think you need to really look into maybe a 12-15 month perspective of learning and failing. It's a really tough job, and you will have many ups and downs during your first, say, year. But when you pass by that and you learn and you get a network and you know the pitfalls and you know also what red flags that might come, so you can like cover them already before it happens and so on. Then this job is super fun, but I think you really need to invest the first year. And one thing that you need to do in recruitment is to keep up the activity. I remember when I did the first, like when I become the manager and coaching people, I remember what it said like on the PowerPoint slide, the first one. It was like activity, activity, activity if you want to succeed in the recruitment industry. And that is, I think I see. Yeah, and then of course, like I guess a question will come like, what is your toolbox or something?
Yeah, maybe prepared something like that.
Yeah, but to just then continue on the answer, I think like mindset is maybe the number one tool. That you need to have a strong mindset. You need to face issues, failures, but also success and like seeing each small positive things as a victory and boost your mindset and confidence. But the only one in the end that can do the job is yourself.
Yeah.
So the mindset. The second one is the phone. I know I'm old school and a bit older, but like you need to use your phone as a weapon. Like you need to talk with people, you need to connect with people, like go out and meet them on video, like call them instead of just emailing. And
related to activity, like you said earlier also.
Yeah, and maybe you can also relate to it, like if you see your generation, like how you communicate, you're so used to text each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's more common than not to do it by phone or WhatsApp or LinkedIn rather than the phone today.
Yeah, or even Snapchat with a short message, like 3 letters, and that is a full sentence in a way, how you guys communicate. And it's nothing wrong, but like also to be in conversation and using the phone especially is like the second weapon. And then I would say my third weapon today is actually ChatGPT. It's like, why not using AI to help you writing job descriptions or making a cover letter look more nice, or doing taking the notes from a candidate interview and put that into a presentation for the client. Like all the tools that can support you in the job is also really nice to have. So of course ChatGPT is one very important tool for me today.
Yeah, so it's a mix of, then you would say, like tools from the old school mixed with just activity, common sense, and then a bit of new tools as well, new school tools.
Yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely. No, but I would say like something I maybe learned, I coming from a younger generation, also I did my studies in a particular practical study that was aimed towards like the digital world. It was called growth marketing, and whilst it wasn't like recruitment related or sales related, we learned a lot about how people today use the internet to both buy stuff and also use services like recruitment in that case as well. And it's like you say, people today, especially from my generation coming up, they tend to use services and they tend to buy stuff and make decisions also in a very different way. And I think also it has a lot to do with attention span. You see today people maybe apply for 5 jobs in a year, do 5 different job interview processes in a year, whilst maybe in your time it was maybe rare to do once per year. But today I think it's also a lot about the availability and the accessibility of things. We have now LinkedIn, and we have these job portals and jobs offers applying everywhere and recruiters reaching out, and people today, they have such a short attention span. You can almost compare it to Tinder, how you're swiping from one to the other, and you always believe that the grass is greener on the other side, but that happens in jobs as well. You always you get the dopamine almost from trying to explore if the next job offer that you're approached with could have 5,000 euros extra in salary per year. That becomes like a trigger and a dopamine kick for young people in my generation.
Yeah, and that also creates maybe a kind of a clash also within, say, talent acquisition and with hiring managers and so on.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that when you look at the CV today, and if you see, oh, is this person a job jumper, like jumping between jobs, and it's like 6 months in this job, 8 months in that job, like if you look at it in the old perspective, that would be a red flag of hiring someone. But maybe that is also what the new generation want. Like when they have fulfilled a mission or learned a job, they want a new adventure, or they want a new challenge.
Yeah, the flame is burning out faster today.
Yeah, and I think to learning then how to combine and see through, I don't know, CVs or interviews or whatever, like, okay, is this a person that have fulfilled something and want to move on to the next step, or was this person just, I don't know, a bad hiring for the old employer and failed in their job, and so what was the reason for leaving, kind of?
Yeah, exactly. No, but I know what you mean. And that clash, I think, also comes because a lot of the hiring managers today, they are from at least 1 or 2 generations before. And whilst the young talent, the young professionals coming up are from this new generation, and everything went so fast for this new generation. And it's like you say, the clash there, like it's not always that this frequent job change needs to mean something bad. I think it's like you say there, it's more important to look at the reason for leaving. Maybe was the mission fulfilled? Was it due to bad behavior? Was it due to, you can see quite easily in sales, for example, if someone is leaving very, very early, probably they have not lived up to the standards. Or if someone leaves even after 1-2 years, yeah, but let's say the sales cycles in that job is 1-2 years, then you have barely fulfilled the first sales cycles in your pipeline. So that's not a good sign either. But it's not always a bad sign. And I think that's a challenge we will have going forward, or at least that we're facing now when there is this clash between generations.
Yeah, but I think evidence to back up what you have been doing is the most important, and maybe that will scrape out how long you have been in a job.
Yeah.
Say that you're a SDR and you worked there for 6 months, but you booked, I don't know, 200 meetings. Yeah, but then you have kind of fulfilled your job, and your next step is to maybe become an account executive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you did anything bad during those 6 months, just that you overperformed or
you outgrow the position fast. Yeah.
So if you can back that up, that shouldn't be a stopper for the next job or the next company. But say that you had bad behaviors and came in late, like weekly, and didn't perform, and then you jump onto the next because you're a quitter. Yeah, okay, how do we cover this in the future? I think that will be important thing to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also why a lot of hiring managers and companies today, they are moving towards more like skill-based hiring. It's not so much anymore about how many years with one certain title, or how many, or what type of degree you have, or stuff like this. I think, or what I see at least, is that companies are, trying to see past this and trying to see what you said instead. What have you done? What is your track record? What can you do? Maybe there's a competency-based interview with a case and so on, where you can clearly see if this person is based. Because if someone has had a heavy title for 3-4 years, doesn't mean necessarily that they either are a good fit for the job. They might have gotten comfortable. They might have lost that hunger that they once had. So yeah, it's a fine line, like you said.
But I'm a bit interested as well. Like you said that, you studied at the Bergs School of Communication in Stockholm. What do you think that gave you kind of now when you started as a recruiter after?
Mm.
You've mentioned it a bit, but like if you can be more detailed.
No, but it's a little bit like what I covered earlier, and to kind of elaborate on it, I learned how people use services, buy products, and behave on the internet, and kind of what sparks their interest. And I think those are things that you can always use in any digital service that you offer, because it's not like recruitment today is digital service. You rarely show up in person to get interviewed for a job with a recruitment agency or someone, and you don't post physical job advertisement on the main square in the city. That's not how you do it, right? And I think those things I learned is, okay, we know that people have short attention span today. How can we catch it?
Yeah.
Whether it's through a headhunting message, whether it's through a job advert, how can we also keep them engaged, knowing that they have that short attention span? Maybe that 45-minute screening call with them isn't necessary, because we can shorten it down to a 20-minute screening call by automating the screening process in the beginning. So it's easier for us, it's easier for the candidate. They can do the screening with their high level expectations of salary, notice periods, and so on in the start. They don't need to take 10 minutes over the phone to describe that, because as you mentioned earlier, people from my generation are less likely to jump on a call, and that's also with recruiters. So if you make them, you want to remove as much as possible that can be possibly removed before jumping into that call.
Yeah.
Because then they will be more likely to take it. You will remove the first layer. Yeah. So once you get them on the phone, you more speak about the opportunity, and you also need to really try and keep that attention of them. So one thing I use a lot in my recruitment, that's also something I learned during my studies, because it was more marketing related. And this is one thing that the best marketers, salespeople, politicians do today, and this is storytelling. And I think this is one of the most important tactics and skills that you can have today as a recruiter. Because if you want to keep someone's attention span, you cannot keep the screening call or your interview as a police interrogation. Because you need to remember, recruitment is sales. You're trying to sell them an opportunity. You cannot just sit there and tick boxes for 20 minutes. They will be bored. You need to have that storytelling element. Okay, what is the background of the company? Where are they today? What has led them to the success they have today? And most importantly, what is the vision forward for the company? And how can you insert the candidate into that vision and mission so they feel a part of it? So that's something I use a lot. There's the storytelling, how to catch and retain attention, and just how people behave online, because our job is online. So that would be my summary of it.
And I kind of fully agree. But the funny thing, like you see in the end, is that the candidates in the end, when they are in the final part of the process of like choosing a job or like doing the interviews, they really need people in the end. Like you cannot kind of automate away the personal contact, or how someone feels safe, or how they feel informed of like the last details of making the decision. And it's like so fun to see how all those things are combined, kind of. From what you said, the storytelling to actually the final part, and then being kind of their coach and advisor as well.
Yeah, and negotiator.
Everything that comes with it. Yeah, but cool. And like if we think about tools, then your toolbox, I mentioned 3 things that I use and think that is important to become a recruiter. But like in your daily work, what tools are you using?
Then I'm gonna try to mention not something you have not mentioned. So I'm not gonna mention phone, ChatGPT. I have a mindset I think I have to bring up. I can't see past that. Like, mindset is the most important. The resilience you build up, because you're gonna face a lot of rejection during the job. And I think it was funny, I read some quote saying that sales is not a sales job. Sales is a rejection job. And I think that should be applied to recruitment as well. Because if you cannot face these rejections and get up after a loss, you're going to have very, very difficult time, because you will have candidates bailing out, clients closing down projects when you have 2 people in final stage. Like, anything can happen outside of your control that will ruin your day. And if you can then not like find the energy to get up again, you're gonna have a really difficult time. So mindset number one. I think
but toolbox then.
Everything starts. Yeah.
You need to choose tools that
no,
you're
but
using.
Then I'm gonna say LinkedIn Recruiter. Might become be obvious to say that, but LinkedIn Recruiter I think is a tool that you not only need to learn, but you need to kind of master it. You need to spend your hours on LinkedIn Recruiter to know how these different features work, how you can, especially like, let's say you have dug through a big talent pool in Sweden and you feel that you've gotten stuck. The best recruiters I know, when they get stuck, they can tweak the system in 5 minutes and they have a completely new pool of relevant candidates that they can use. So I think mastering LinkedIn Recruiter, spending time on it, like see it almost as a computer game, because that's how I see it today. I started off and it was just a business tool, but it's become like a computer game with features, and you can master it and you can level up and you can increase your hit rate on the messages. And if you start to see it like that and think performance based with that tool, you can really like outconquer your competition in the market, I believe. Because you might take it for granted. You say that, okay, yeah, but every recruitment agency is using LinkedIn Recruiter. Yes, that might be it, but be the best one then to use it, because that's really gonna make a difference in your recruitment work.
Any other tool you want to add?
Yeah, maybe I need to give a third one. You gave 3. In that sense, I'm gonna say AI in general. So ChatGPT is one part of it, but we use many tools internally that has to do with AI, and it's not only to recruit candidates, but the back office things, like removing those boring tasks from your work that you spend time on, whether it's being CRM related tasks or how your calendar is scheduled, for example. But to find these small tools that you can use, because if you can pay $19 per month for a subscription for a tool that removes 1 hour of boring repetitive work per day, you can use that hour for recruitment, and you have 5 more hours in a week that you can use for recruitment, and that's gonna pay off those 19 euros that you pay a month. So just AI tools in general. It was a bit generalistic answer, but I think we also could make a entire episode about AI related tools in recruitment, because there's a lot to be said about it.
Yeah. Cool. Now, what maybe like one last question then for the people that doesn't know you that well yet. Like you moved first, like you said, to Cyprus, then now you're here in Barcelona for almost 3 years.
Yep.
And like, for example, now, like, what is your biggest take out of moving abroad? And also the second question is maybe like, what is your biggest lesson also working with different cultures? But like, if you started with the first one, your takeout of moving abroad.
No, but my takeout from moving abroad, I definitely made a big early jump out of my comfort zone. And I think that formed and shaped me in a great way, and also shaped my career after that, removing the fear in doing things. I think that's also why we're sitting here recording a live podcast. That if you asked 19-year-old, 18-year-old Martin to do it, I don't think it would ever happen. And the same thing, if I would have stayed in my small village called Vattholma in Sweden with 1,000 inhabitants, and I would not have explored the world and, left my comfort zone, I don't think there would ever be a podcast, there would never be a Barcelona office and so on. So I think leaving the comfort zone was a big takeaway from working and moving abroad. And then to tie it to your next question, like what I learned.
Lesson. Yeah.
That would be
multicultural
environment. But that is the differences that we have in culture. You might see, Europe as one big playing ground. You try to cluster Europe a lot in different ways, like how companies do it today. They call the markets Nordics, they call them DACH, they call them Benelux. But even within these clustered markets, there are differences. If you look into, for example, Norwegian work culture and Swedish work culture, you might not think there's a difference, but there is. Same if you go to Denmark, same if you go to Finland. And I can imagine also, without having experienced it too much, but in DACH, for example, the difference between the work culture in Switzerland, Austria, and Germany. So these cultures has been maybe the biggest lesson of working multicultural.
Which culture have challenged you the most?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Like I think the Dutch one has like Dutch and German are quite similar in that sense. Like they are very direct, while we're from the Nordics are more like reserved. So if you, for example, take a person from Finland and you take a person from Netherlands and you put them in the same room, that's something I would like to see. But there's also a beautiful thing, like we have people from Finland and Netherlands in our organization, and they work really, really well together because yes, they have these cultural differences, but they kind of have some similarities as well in the terms of like ambition, interest in life, values, and so on.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned a lot. And for you, like living in Oslo, like we mentioned, not there too often because you travel a lot. You travel very frequently for business. I mean, you're here with me today in Barcelona. We did some client meetings here during the days, and that's part of your lifestyle today. But if you could recommend now 3 European cities that you would say are ideal for expats or even for yourself out of personal interest, like 3 European cities that you could see yourself live and work in, both for the lifestyle but also for like career opportunities, and it can not be Norway or Spain.
Yeah, so of course, like Spain, I really love being in Spain.
Yeah.
So of course I cannot choose it now, but like being in Costa del Sol in Malaga, it's so nice. It's like I really love it down there.
No easy way out now.
Yeah,
Not Spain.
exactly. And also like Barcelona being here, it's also amazing. It's more like a metropole city, but it's like, yeah. Okay, so not choosing them. I think like London before Brexit would be really cool.
Yep.
When they were still in the EU and it was like the startup hub in Europe and all international companies were setting up businesses there. So London back in the days, I see that a lot of that business is now transformed over to like Amsterdam or Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, London one, and then if I want to stay in the south part of Europe, like why not try the Atlantic adventure and staying in Lisbon,
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, like also very multicultural, yeah, but nice food, like good vibes. I really like Portugal, and to take some bit odd, like, but Baltics is pretty cool. Tallinn is a medieval city back from back in the days, and it's a really tech developed country. Sorry, like even the elections is done online in Tallinn and Estonia, and it would be really cool to like stay there a year and see how this technology have an impact on the people. And it's only living like 1 million people there.
Yeah.
So it's still like a small country. So I think you could move around and build a pretty big network fast.
Yeah. No, they have a lot of interesting tech startups for being a small country. Like Uber is Bolt is from Estonia. Yeah.
For example, and Wise is one.
Yeah, Wise.
And actually Skype, even if it was a Swedish founder, it was developed in Estonia.
In Estonia, yeah.
With Estonian partners or founders. So
yeah.
They have always been early, and they decided to digitalize everything that you do, both as a company owner or as a private person, and you see how big impact that have on the fast growth of the country.
Yeah, and staying on the topic of countries and so on, if there would be one geographical market that you could, I mean, today we cover a lot of geographical markets, like you mentioned in our work, like anything from Asia to LATAM and Europe and even parts of Africa. But if there would be then one market that you could expand in, like work more with or tap into that we haven't worked with, like Australia or US, for example, is there any market that you're extra curious about to work with?
Yeah, but I think US, like the Americas in general, like Latin, but also US would be super cool.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to connect with C-level people. They are more curious and open for business.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that the fees are much higher in the US, and also the notice period is much shorter. So our fast-paced way of working with recruitment,
Yeah.
I think, would fit in the US.
Very transactional.
And if you then would also receive a 25, 30, 40K fee for that fast-paced work, that would be amazing. So,
Yeah.
and also the market is enormous. Like the US is like, I don't know, at least on the same level as in Europe.
Yeah.
Like if you look into the population and all the states, if you compare it with countries in Europe.
Yeah.
But I think that the mindset of business is much more developed in the US. So I think that would be cool.
Nice. And we already touched a little bit about it, and we've spoken about it now with like, we hope at least we've given you a little bit of taste of our different perspectives coming from like, two very different generations and so on. But what would you say from your own point is your personal drive with this podcast now going forward?
No, but I think
motivation.
it's but like you said in the beginning, I think the red line of like how do you say, all the things we're doing on a daily level, but also connected to the gap we have in age. Like it's a 17 years difference. Maybe we have the same father as you said, so we share some values, and we have been fostered maybe in a similar way when we were young, but we were growing up in different times, time zones, or whatever you call it, like in the world. And I think this to add it into the pod and have deep discussions about it, and also about opportunities around it, and how you can learn both from a young and elder generation of like the different skills and the different habits or behaviors or tools or whatever you need or that you use to become, I don't know, call it successful, but also like to succeed with things. And it's not about like always about being the best in everything, or being the most successful, or earning the most money, but like learning tips and tricks that you can use to become like a good employee, a good employer, and also maybe some inspiration for your daily work.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, what do you think?
No, but I would agree, and I think the learning part there, like very curious person in general. I think that's why I'm working in recruitment and working abroad. But to discuss these topics both between ourselves, just the two of us, and sometimes maybe with guests, would be super interesting to get takeouts from the episodes we make. Also, when we do the research before episodes, that we stay up to date with what's going on in the market, with the most recent trends, also to share that with the listeners, so that we're on the same levels with the listeners, and just keep on learning. Like you say, if there's 1, 2, or 3 takeouts that our listeners can take out from the episode, and so I can do myself, that's a jackpot episode in my opinion. So I think that's my drive as well, and to meet people. No, really looking forward to it, to get this started with.
And one thing that we have not like practicing too much today is maybe also enjoy a bit sitting here poking each other a bit, asking maybe some more tricky questions and stuff. I think today we have been a bit formal, but also showing a bit of ourselves, like who we are, and our personalities, and not taking us too serious as well. Like give some extra of who we are and what we do, but also with some joy.
That's why we also like to mention the things we enjoy doing, like sports and traveling and working and living abroad, because there's a lot about these topics as well that we can bring up, like what's the better city to live in, Malaga or Barcelona. It could be anything really that's related to that, also between sports. So
absolutely. No, and we would really like to connect with the listeners as well, like that people give us feedback, both how we behave when we are sitting here and doing the pod, but also more on the topics people want us to talk about. Maybe if we should open up more deeper about things that can be for a great value, and also maybe about the worldwide knowledge that we have today. We actually support clients in 44 different countries, and we move people between countries as well. Like our specialization have always been to move people between countries, and we don't see the world with borders. We see just one map of, placing people.
Yeah.
And I know you have your own like little vision of like putting pins on the world map of every part of the world you have placed people.
Absolutely. It's become like Pokemon today. Like it's not cool before you catch them all. So yeah, that's a mindset I know not only me, but also in my team here in Barcelona, that we it's something that drives us. Not always the big fee or the successful recruitment story in that sense, but to collect a new country. That's been a big drive power for us now. I think the last 9 months, 10 months, like a little bit before the year started, I think we're up to 30 countries or something just internally in the team. And that's anything from LATAM to APAC, EMEA. So it's really fun. Sometimes we need to go a bit unconventional methods to, with the time zones and everything, but it's really fun.
And also to brag a bit about Martin, he had like a crazy month. He scored a hat trick, as you say, in sports, but it was a crazy hat trick as well over 3 continents. He had
the one in February.
Like one hiring in Santiago de Chile, in LATAM. Then he had one in Bahrain in the Middle East, and then finalized it with another one in Bangkok, Thailand, in Asia. So it was like a hat trick the same month in 3 different continents.
Spread out through time zones. Yeah, I don't know how I did it with the time zones there to keep them all engaged, but no, that was fun. Like you say, that's one of the things that triggers me to collect these countries. So
and that is also what I enjoy. Like I can have a client day, for example, with 4 different clients. So you really talk with different kind of personalities, cultures, and you nail like, okay, Spain, England, Bulgaria, and Thailand in the same day.
Yeah.
And then also at the same time working with around 50, 60 colleagues that have 20 different nationalities at the same time and adapting to it. So that is cool, and we will,
dive a lot deeper into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes even we could make country-specific episodes about the hiring culture there, because it's also so different between the different countries. So,
and we are not the only brothers as well working together in this company, in the Worldwide Global Recruitment. We also have 2 Swedish brothers here in Barcelona and 2 Dutch brothers with Croatian heritage working together in Malaga. So maybe in the future it will be like brother episodes as well.
Could be
challenging.
Who is the best brother?
Exactly. Last but not least, is it something you want to say to the listeners before we close down for today?
I think it's been a nice first episode. So I think it's like with everything, your first cold call, your first client meeting, that it will just get better from here. Like you said in the beginning, hopefully it's the worst one. But it's been really, really fun also. I enjoyed it. And if you guys have any, like Rickard said, share your questions, suggestions, feedback. If there's any topic you like us to bring up, if you have any questions, or also maybe guests, maybe some of you want to jump in to also, get some spotlight for yourself, tell your story about recruitment or business in general, like feel free to email us. You will have our emails in the podcast description as well. We're very approachable for those type of conversations. So yeah. Anything else from your side?
No, and just a small last thing. A big thanks to Alicia Blomqvist that have set up all this for us the last weeks.
Absolutely.
Without her, we wouldn't be here today.
Absolutely not.
Thanks to the girl in the background.
Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Take care.